Let's just say exactly the same thing, but faster.
Yes. It's time now we get to the comments of the week that we really like.
From Montreal, Quebec, Canada, welcome to the GCN Show.
Welcome to the GCN Show, which is brought to you by our friends over at Wiggle.
This week, have you lost sight of why you ride? Coming up, we've got 5 warning signs that you need to be aware of.
We've also got the answer to mamils, and they're called spandads, apparently. We're going to look at a whole load of new kit in the Pro Peloton for 2019, and also look at possibly the best Giro d'Italia lineup ever.
Yeah. Personally, though, I'm looking forward to Wonderful Losers, which is coming up soon. So I'm looking forward to that. People are kind of used to it, aren't they? Wonderful Losers. Watching the GCN show.
I'm not sure we're wonderful, Si. This week in the world of cycling, we learned that Thomas de Gendt is the new Caleb Ewan.
No, mate, I don't buy it. Not at that speed.
Oh, don't forget that you can continue that speed on for a good 230 k's.
Mate, even I could outsprint him at that speed. Must be all the bike packing he's been doing. Speaking of which, actually, after our extreme bike packing from Peru, we learned this week that French mountain biker Egan Bernal has taken things up to a whole new level. Check out this on the Via Ferrata trails of the Dolomites.
Unbelievable. I don't know why you'd want to do that. To be fair, we've been to the Dolomites regularly for the last 3 years. It's a wonder we've not thought to go up and try those trails out ourselves.
Good point, yeah, very good point.
In all seriousness, I recommend watching the whole video if you're not of the faint of heart. In fact, I dare you to watch the whole video without having to look away in fright.
Yeah, right. Now, we also learned this week that after the inaugural Shift Cycling Culture Clunker Rise, that perhaps we really are losing sight of why we ride.
If you missed last week's GCN show, the idea behind these clunker rides is to encourage people to use old kit, old bikes, old clothing, and to remind them that bike riding is fun whether you're using cutting edge equipment or not. In fact, the first ride over in Berlin, was very well supported, wasn't it, despite some wintry weather.
Some pretty cool bikes on show there as well, actually, showing that clunker doesn't necessarily mean crap, although sometimes it does. Anyway, cool or crap, what it showed was really, really important, and I think that I'm probably guilty, as many of you are, of becoming a little bit obsessed about bike tech sometimes, to the point where actually I will fixate on having the perfect bike for a certain type of ride.
Not necessarily something to be ashamed of. So in fact, like you said, I think a lot of people out there can empathise with that particular problem.
Yeah.
That said, you are occasionally a bit too nerdy for your own good. But even I have to admit that there's nothing wrong with loving new tech or wanting new tech or saving up your hard-earned money to buy some new upgrades for your bike. But there can come a point at which lusting after this new tech stops you from riding the bike that you've already got.
Yeah, and that would be the point at which you cross the line into starting to lose sight of why you ride, not wanting to ride at all because your bike's not perfect. Actually, and on the flip side of this as well, you could also cross that line if you're so proud of your bike that you don't actually want to ride it because maybe the roads are too bad, or the weather might be bad, or the weather might be about to be bad.
Yeah, we call those house bikes here in the UK, don't we? They're not allowed to leave the house.
No, because the weather might always be about to be bad. White bar tape does it for me, you know. Makes me petrified about leaving the house on my bike. Yeah, because that moment where it gets dirty. As do white shoes. Until, weirdly, they get dirty, and then I love them.
What about white shorts? Would you leave the house in white shorts?
No, I definitely wouldn't leave the white hat. Unless, of course, I got paid like you did for Sabello.
Got minimum wage for that.
It's fine. Here's another one. If you go for a ride, but you're not going to get any proof that you were riding, would you still go out the front door?
What we mean by this is if you're not able to upload a photo to Instagram of your ride or upload your ride to Strava, is there any point in even going out on your bike in the first place? Sounds like an extreme example, but it's amazing how many riders out there are guilty of this now.
That's right. Would you interrupt even, an amazing ride just to take a photo to show your mates that you were in the process of having an amazing ride that's perhaps just slightly less amazing than it was because you've stopped?
On the flip side, you could say that in stopping to take that photo on a climb, you've actually soaked up more of the view than you would have done had you carried on riding. Although there's another dilemma, isn't there? Because if that photo opportunity arises on a climb in which you also want to set a fast time, what do you do then? Do you stop, still upload your ride to Strava and face having quite a slow time up there?
Well, that is a dilemma. And if it's one that you faced, you've crossed the line. You've definitely lost sight of why you ride.
And what about training too? Because there's more and more people out there that are trying to ditch their heart rate straps, their power meters or their GPS head units to try and sort of liberate themselves whilst they go out riding. That's definitely one I can sympathise with, looking at my head unit more than the view.
Yeah, imagine how many Instagram opportunities you missed.
Well, yeah, not many back in my day. Instagram wasn't really about. But I definitely got way too obsessed with numbers. In fact, I took things so far that I have been known on a couple of occasions, to have ridden descents with my brakes on in order to prevent my average power going down too far.
That is not why you or anybody got into cycling. I mean, when you break that down, if you pardon the pun, it's kind of ridiculous, isn't it? Like, flying down descents is one of the best bits of cycling. It's the reward for the hard climb to the top. And so, not only are you missing out on that, you'd make it deliberately hard on yourself. And if you were really proud of your wheels, you'd be wearing your rims out, your brake pads.
I was, no disc brakes at the time. So I have realised the problem that I was having now, and I've solved it.
Good.
I no longer break down descents. But you really know that you've lost sight of why you ride if you become quite irate and passionate during a debate about socks over or under leg warmers.
Clearly, they go underneath.
Definitely under.
Yeah.
Unbelievable that people think any different.
That aside, Dan, I mean, most of those things, apart from socks, could also be the reason why people choose to ride bikes. So, there's lots of different reasons why you do like cycling, and it might be that you want to use your bike to get to a place where you can take an amazing photo of an amazing view. And that's okay.
Yeah. And also, you might have got into cycling because you like the performance aspect of things. And if that was the reason, you are going to need to go out training sometimes, probably on your own, and probably staring down at your stem quite a bit. And if you get an obsession with cycling tech and become more of a collector than a rider, it's probably okay too, isn't it, really? But I think you do need to step back sometimes and take a look at whether you have lost at least some sight of why you rode a bike in the first place. Maybe not all of it, but some.
Yeah. If nothing else, go and take a clunker for a ride. It will thank you, and I think probably you will also thank it. Definitely let us know in the comment section what you think about all of this though. Have you ever lost sight of why you ride? And if so, what was it that got you back on track? Have some of these resonated with you? Make sure you let us know in the comments.
It's time now for our GCN Inspiration, your chance to win one of 3 Wiggle voucher amounts, £50, £75 or £100 for first place. We've picked our 3 favourite photos from the last week, haven't we? But before we get onto them, I want to show you this inspirational cycling photo from Tom Schoinge from day 1 of his Trek Segafredo camp over in Sicily. Unfortunately, so I'm not eligible to win any prizes this
Is it
week.
because it was taken by a professional photographer? Or is it because he's a pro?
Neither actually. It's because he put it on Twitter, not Instagram, didn't use the hashtag GCN Inspiration, which is what you need to do, or do use our uploader, link to which you can find in the description below. Right, on to third place then, and it comes in from Till. Look at that photo.
That's fantastic. He's saying this is total silence in Vienna's woods. So there we go, riding around in Austria at the moment. That does look absolutely amazing. Very inspirational, despite the fact that it's cold and snowy.
Yeah, and getting me in the Christmas spirit, as if these decorations hadn't already done exactly that.
Yeah.
Next up in second place, and receiving £75 of Wiggle vouchers, it is Weston.
Wow.
Who took this photo at the top of Mount Wilson over in LA, and that is a view and a half, isn't it?
Super cool. I love the riding in LA for those exact views. And what an amazing place to stop and take a photo, Dan. Yeah, a worthy winner there of £75. And then finally, the big prize is this one. This is sent in by James, again out of California actually, riding up Fernwood to catch the sunrise in Malibu, California. Although, Dan, can I just say, technically, he's having to interrupt a perfect moment of his ride to put his brakes on and go back to check to see whether his photographer has got
That's
a shot.
true. Although it's worth it, because even if that took a couple of hours, that's 50 quid an hour. It's quite a good hourly rate, isn't it, that? Anyway, well done to you, James. We'll get that voucher code over to you as soon as possible. And don't forget to get yourselves involved for the next couple of weeks.
Definitely didn't take a couple of hours that, because you've only got like a short period of time at sunrise, haven't
You
you?
might have started practicing before the sun
It's
came
more
up.
like 400 quid an hour, that.
Whoa.
It's now time for cycling shorts.
We shall start cycling shorts with a story of wonderful losers, which is a documentary that was shot at the Giro d'Italia in 2015 and has now just been shortlisted for an Oscar.
It has. Yeah, this is the work of Lithuanian film director Arūnas Matelis, the first film director, in fact, to be given race access at the Giro for over 40 years.
Yeah, it's such a shame that his access wasn't granted a bit earlier, like 2009 or 2010, because you would have had a starring role.
Well, what do you think of a wonderful loser?
That's a good point, actually. Maybe just not wonderful. Anyway, speaking of Giro d'Italia, they are in the process of revealing a very tasty looking lineup. One of the best, arguably, since 2009 or 2010. Tom Dumoulin has just confirmed what will be his 4th participation on the trot. Simon Yates will return for unfinished business. Landa and Valverde will be heading up the Movistar team. And the rumours are that Bernal will be going for Sky and perhaps Geraint Thomas too.
Really? Contrary to what Geraint Thomas has said himself recently.
They are rumours, Dan. They are rumours.
Well, it'd be amazing if we were right on that front, wouldn't we? We know more about Geraint's programme than he does. But you can add to that list Superman Lopez, or Miguel Angel Lopez from Team Astana. Twice former winner Vincenzo Nibali of Bahrain Merida, plus his compatriot Team UAE Emirates Fabio Aru. And there, even before you've got to the sprinters or the fact that Peter Sagan might be doing it for the first time in his career, you've got a stellar lineup, haven't you? Probably the best of any race next year.
Yeah, and just 144 days to wait until the start. Brilliant, the countdown starts now. Right, sticking with racing news briefly, we've got to say a big congratulations actually, because the Zwift Academy winner has just been crowned as Ella Harris, the 20-year-old New Zealander. She wins not only the process of the Zwift Academy, but also, of course, a brand new pro contract with the Canyon SRAM team. How cool is that?
Gets away the coolest kit in cycling, doesn't she?
Oh, she does, yeah.
Well done to you. Sticking with kits, actually, and sticking with pro cycling a little bit longer, do you want to see some more new kits for 2019?
Go on then.
We're going to start with the all-new 29 kit for Team Astana.
Huh.
Yeah, believe it or not, that is their brand new kit.
Wow.
Not much in the way of changes, I don't think, over the last couple of years.
No.
But there is a bit of a change on the CCC front because they've released both their men's and women's team kits for 2019. I think there are also some subtle differences between the two kits, if my eyes
One
don't
being
deceive
orange and one being red.
Well, it depends which video or photo you look at, Si, but I think you're right. What I do know is that it is a definite improvement over the previous year's CCC kit, which was a luminous orange colour, wasn't it?
Yeah, to be fair, I still don't really like the men's kit, but I do like the women's kit, depending on which photo you look at. Now, Team Sunweb have had quite a significant change. They've kept the vertical stripes, but gone from white to red, which I like. What do you think, Dan? Hot or not?
I think that's a hot from me for that particular squad. Although also red are the Trek Segafredo men's team again next year. But they've released a whole load of new kits because, of course, they've got the men's and the women's teams. And for each of them, they've got a training kit and a racing kit. And I'd say they all look pretty good.
Yeah.
Last week, they also announced a new partnership with SRAM Componentry too, which you'd imagine will last for a few years. Cyclocross news now. At the weekend, Mathieu van der Poel won back-to-back races by quite a comfortable margin.
Oh
over
my
his arch
word,
nemesis,
Dan.
World champion Wout van Aert. Yeah, not much news really there. However, he did air some annoyances, Mathieu van der Poel, over the way that Van Aert conducts himself post-race, because apparently he goes off and does his cool-down on his rollers before he attends the podium ceremony, leaving Van der Poel waiting.
Van der Poel will be waiting, irrespective of what Van Aert does after the race, such as his margins of victory. Serves you right, Matthew, for dropping Wout van Aert like a hot potato after 4 minutes.
Well,
of
maybe
every race.
if Van der Poel did his cool down towards the end, the margin of victory would be narrower. He wouldn't be waiting quite so long anyway. But he would have already done his cool down. Anyway, the race was much closer in the women's event and therefore probably more exciting too. Denise Betsema won it on Saturday. I don't think I ever get her name right, but that was the DVV trophy. And on Sunday, the world champion Sanne Cant took her first win of the year in the Super Prestige Series.
So she can!
She can, yes. Meanwhile, another example of dominance in the women's side of things over in the States at the weekend where we had the US National Championships. There, Katie Compton not only won the race by close to 2.5 minutes, but that was also her 15th national title in a row.
Wow.
If that's not dominance, I don't know what it is. Do you like dominance?
Well, I don't know. Depends, really. I don't want to get beaten for 15 years.
Well, no. Depends on what side of it you're on.
Yeah, exactly. Right, sticking with the States for a moment, I really like this story. It harks back to the penny farthing hour record, which was set, you remember, in the 1880s. This refers to the Minneapolis Grand Round Trail that has been in the planning for 140 years. So presumably it was planned originally for penny farthings. Anyway, it might finally get completed, but the vote still hangs in the balance, apparently. They only need a 5-mile section to make it. But anyway, so if that is of relevance to you, make sure you lobby your local authority, make your voice heard. In fact, lobby your local authority wherever you live and just say, yay, go bikes!
Yes,
probably important.
Exactly that. All right, let's move on to a really feel-good story.
Oh, yeah?
This is news from over in Canada. in the state of Victoria. A group of cycling dads who call themselves spandads.
Yeah, spandex dads. If that doesn't become the new mamils, there's no justice in this world.
I think it will, won't it?
Yeah.
Anyway, they organised a bike drive and then they donated 100 fixed up bikes to the One Up charity and Bicycles for Humanity.
I think that is absolutely fantastic. Fair play to all involved. Brilliant.
It's time now for Tech of the Week, and so as always, we will hand over to people even more nerdy than Si, believe it or not. It's either John or it's Ollie, or if they're together, it's Jolly.
This week on the GCN Tech Show, we've got a foldable cargo bike, which looks absolutely brilliant. Plus, we've got a bike that looks like it was painted by the very own hands of Vincent van Gogh, and it's limited to just 250 pieces.
Plus, we discuss the bike that can be built from the oldest existing cycling brands.
Oh, this is going to be a cracker as ever. Join us on Thursday.
We've got a brand new giveaway for you, this time courtesy of the good folk over at Cyclic, and I'm going to let Si explain all of the tech details because he's too nerdy for his own good.
Right, well there we go. Thank you, Dan, for that introduction. Right, so we have 3 sets of their front and rear camera light units in there. So if you don't know about these yet, let me give you a quick rundown. This is the Fly 12 CE and this is the Fly 6 CE, and they combine both a powerful light and also an HD camera in there. The beauty of which is that as soon as you switch the unit on, it starts recording. It will record continuously until either you press the save button, by which point it saves the previous 15 minutes of footage, or it goes into crash detection mode. So basically, this is kind of like a dash cam for bikes. So if something unfortunate happens to you out on the road, then hopefully you've got some evidence at your fingertips.
Very
Or indeed
cool
something
indeed.
cool happens to you on the road, like you kind of, I don't know, an eagle swoops past or, you know.
As ever, you can find a link in the description below which you can press on to go through to enter this giveaway, and we wish you the best of luck. Hack /bodge of the week, and we're going to start off with this one from Gregors. Using the uploader, he sent this picture in of a rather large looking rear light, but the reason for this is that his wife lost his rear light,
Oh,
and
no.
so what he did was attach a rechargeable sight light and put warning flashing light on. So would have done the job, wouldn't it, to keep him safe?
You know what, mate? I think that's almost a hack, isn't it? Fantastic. Great work there. I mean, arguably you wouldn't even want to replace it. Looks like a perfect fit.
It looks quite heavy.
Right then, Kevin T. Lutz. My son added the TV at the bottom of our pain cave setup so he could watch YouTube while riding Zwift. Look at that. Unfortunately, that looks like an enormous John Canning.
Oh my word. I think you've lost sight of why you started riding a bike in the first place. I
Yeah.
mean, was it really to be sat indoors watching television?
Watching John. Yeah, I don't know. I'd say that's a bodge, wouldn't you, mate?
Wow, with Canning's on there.
Exactly.
We love him, really. We're only joking. Hack. Right, next up, we have got this from Paul. Joined an epic mountain bike race with my friend who didn't want to get lost, and so he improvised. Well, that's quite an
Wow.
old school hack, really, isn't it? Lots of people used to do that on randonays.
That's right, but I like the execution. Is that sellotape and
Sticks.
twigs? Yeah.
Yes.
Nice work. There we go. That is the absolute antidote to technology. Technological.
Oh, that's easy for you to say, mate.
Yeah.
Next up, from Lucas, went to go pick up my bike up after a service and realised I'd forgotten the bolt I needed to secure my front light
Oh,
on. So
no.
what he's done is used the inside of a biro pen, wrapped it through the hole and looped it back into place, and it kept it there steady for the whole ride home.
Dan, what I'm concerned about is he's used the phrase to lock it in place, but yeah, actually what he's talking about is a biro. So I'm not entirely sure that that is a lock. Anyway, I'm glad you still have that light. Right, what about this? Sent in by Jay. His daughter wanted to get into the festive spirit and share a little Christmas joy on his commute. You could do with a bit more of that, couldn't you, Dan?
Yes.
So here he is with
my
160 LED lights attached to his
Wow.
bike. Now, fair play for putting the battery packs in such places as your front spokes.
Oh, yeah.
But if that works, then I say fair play, because that is a festive bike.
Well, you wouldn't want that to get dislodged and wrapped around the forks, though, would you?
No, but if his daughter's happy and he's managing to ride in safety, improved safety, he said, improved visibility, then yeah, fair play.
Right, we both said fair play together and sounding like dads.
Hack.
Spandads, basically.
Spandads.
Right, Steve Bradburn sent this in. Bungee cord and a big button, et voila, a lid lock from a Brompton bag.
That's pretty cool. Can I say why, Dan? Not only is it neat, but also I've got a bit of a pet hate about people wearing their bike helmets when they're not on their bikes. Like, there's quite a few people do it on the train.
Yeah, and if you just attach your helmet to your bag using the strap from the helmet, it goes all over the place, doesn't it?
So there we go, yeah, because I'm just like, well, yeah, come on, take your helmet off. I've been on a train for half an hour. But anyway, I mean, your head's an effective place to store your lid, but equally, I just wonder whether it's a bit, I don't know.
Yeah, weird.
Yeah, basically.
Right, we should finish up with another very Christmassy hack. This is from Finley S. I presume that's how it's said. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Well, yes, it is. Some very festive
beginning to look a lot
green
like
chain rings.
Christmas.
I'd say that's a good job. Don't forget to keep sharing your hacks and bodges with us. The hashtag is GCN Hack, or you can use the uploader in the description below.
You know what the next line is for that song?
No, every day we...
It's Caption competition now. Your chance to get your hands on a GCN Camelback water bottle. All you got to do is write an amusing caption to the photo we're about to give you. But before we get there, it's results time.
Yes, last week's photo was this one of Mark Cavendish playing football, or soccer if you're over in the USA. The winner this week is Matthijs van den Berg. He put caption, I don't think he's a keeper. Play on words there,
yeah,
see what you mean.
Nice.
Yes, keeper, of course, if you're from the US, being somebody that stands in the goal, or alternatively, someone that you want to keep because you like them so much.
Yeah.
Sorry, just thought I'd explain the
Yeah,
caption.
because some of the humour's lost in translation, isn't it? But anyway.
Yeah, often minus. This coming up, you will see. This is this week's caption photo. It's Jens Calera over at the Lotto Soudal training camp. I'll get you started. Jens wasn't expecting quite such a precise answer when he asked, does my bum look big in this?
Not bad, mate. Not bad. Yeah, I like that. Good effort.
If you didn't laugh, it's because it's lost in translation.
Yes, yeah, that's one way of looking at it. No, if you think you've got a good caption, stick it in the comment section down below and we will pick who we deem to be the very best next week. And then send your poll.
We're going to go through a few of our favourite comments before we let you know what's coming up over the next 7 days here on GCN. First up, this one which came in under our trend-setting video with Hank. Colin Latter, not best pleased, as many of you didn't seem to be. N-1, wash your mouth out. Many wives, husbands and partners may be listening to this.
Fear not, because actually other people in the comments pointed out that in order to get N-1 bike, you would need to get +1. So actually, you end up with net neutral, just N.
Yeah, basic algebra really.
So there we go, yeah, which escaped myself and Hank. But anyway, Lloyd is already there. Now, some John Travolta news. Turns out that not only has he got great hair, but also immense and rippling quadriceps, which did not escape your notice under the Why Cyclists Should Run video. Chris is the only man who can make running shorts fit like Lycra, according to KJF there. That's true enough. And then Clifford Rominer said, Chris, even if you're running, people identify as a cyclist because of those tan lines.
Yes, they certainly can, can't they?
Yeah.
Ironically, I'm one of the only people that can make Lycra shorts look like running shorts. So.
True that. Yeah, now also, one thing we didn't put in that video, which we should in hindsight, is a warning, because poor old Danny Rowe, who retired from professional cycling just a couple of weeks back, went for a jog to celebrate, and she ended up with a stress fracture. So get well soon, Danny, and let that be a lesson that you should build up gradually to anyone who did watch that and thought that they should run. Yeah. Please, go steady.
Yeah, we cyclists are not particularly hardy, are we, when it comes to any kind of contact sport, even if it's just
with the ground.
Can't see along the floor.
Not many people call running a contact sport, but cyclists do.
Right, coming up on the channel this week. On Wednesday, we're going to, well, it's how to build strength on a bike, actually.
Yay!
Ironically enough.
Yeah, it could be a contact
not
sport.
Not bone strength, but general cycling conditioning strength.
Then it's time to start your efforts. Seated or standing, it doesn't really matter. All that matters is that you start slow and give it absolutely everything. Aim to start just a little faster than walking pace and in a really big gear.
Thursday, we've got top 10 most influential people, delayed from last week after that Sky news.
It's top 18 as well, would you
Is
believe
it up
it?
to 18? There are a lot of influential people in our sport, aren't there?
There are.
And then Friday, as ever, is Ask GC Anything.
Yeah, we also have a bit of a double header on Friday. We also answer that question about why some people can ride harder on the flat and some people can ride harder on climbs. The science was so extreme we've been crunching through the data and getting lots of help. Saturday, it's one that you've been waiting for very patiently. It's 105 versus Giro. Just how do those two group sets stack up? Interesting to film, so hopefully very interesting to watch. Then Sunday, we've got a bit of a presenter challenge. It's the Alberto Contador challenge.
This is the most unnatural thing ever. I can't feel my arms.
Find out on Sunday what that is all about.
Yeah, make sure you tune in for that. Monday, of course, it's the racing news show, and then Tuesday we're back here on set for the GCN show.
Hold on a minute, mate. Tuesday's Christmas Day. We're back here.
Well, yeah, the GCN show fell on Christmas Day this year. I can't help that. Can you guess what's in my hand, Si?
By the look of it, Dan, I'd say that's probably the super lightweight windproof jacket from
How
the
did you
GCN
guess
Winter
that?
Fan Kit.
I mean, that is remarkably compact. We actually have got an entire jacket. I got it in my hand there. It took me a long time to fold it up, I must admit. Anyway, this is part of what is currently on sale on shop.globalcyclingnetwork.com and with a full 40% off. So this is amongst the range. How about the Winter Fan Kit 2?
Yeah, importantly, you won't need that jacket if you come to the GCN training camp in Mallorca in March. Fingers crossed, because the weather's normally pretty good then, isn't it?
Normally is.
Yeah, but anyway, so both of those things, make sure you check out the GCN training camps in Mallorca. It's one we are super excited about, and please, you are all invited. So head over to the website and have a look.
Don't forget the inaugural Lloydie's Pub quiz.
That's right, and the first ever GCN show live, which we're still bricking it about.
We are.
Good job we're working on Christmas Day, isn't it? Because we'll need all the practice we can get down.
We can start practicing pretty soon because it's almost the end of this show. And as ever, we are going to finish it with Extreme Corner.
That's right. We have got a little bit more Dolomite Via Ferrata for you, courtesy of Killian Bron.
I had to look away. Oh, you've had to look away too.
Has he finished?
Unbelievable.
Slightly bonkers, isn't he?
I wonder if Killian has lost sight of why he started cycling in the first place. I would imagine it was not to do death-defying trails like that.
To be fair, Dan, he's clearly taken a wrong turn at some point, hasn't he, really? But anyway, there you go. Probably got a great Insta-banger from halfway down.
I didn't see him stop on that video.
Yeah, no, they cut that bit out of the video.
Yeah, probably wouldn't have put it in, would they?
No.
All right, well, that is the end of the GCN show this week. We very much hope you've enjoyed watching, and we'll be back on Christmas Day.
That's right. If you haven't checked out our retro versus modern 1986 versus 2018 video, then please do make sure you check that one out. Just how have carbon bikes changed in the last 32 years?